There's something about hearing about a celebrity feud. The stakes are higher, everyone's watching it happen, and for some reason feuds between celebrities are just so captivating. You guys love the first one so much we are counting down the top 10 celebrities that can't stand each other, part 2, here for you on IO. What's gravy fam jam? Been a while since I did a top 10, sorry about that. By the way, I'm Charlotte. If you're new here on this channel, we overload you with updates about all the trending topics and tea on the internet. Subscribe for a different take on the news and follow the IO team on social media. Let's get into the drama. At number 10 on our list, we have Mariah, Carey, and Nicki Minaj. Is it really a surprise that these two larger-than-life queens have had a hard time sharing the spotlight? Apparently their feud began when they were both judges on American Idol at the same time. According to US Weekly, Mariah said that she hated it, and it was like going to work every day in hell with Satan. Though Mariah Carey didn't specifically name Nicki Minaj, it was evident on the show that season that these two were not fans of one another. Leaked videos showed them engaged in heated arguments, like one video where Nicki can be seen calling Mariah her highness. I mean, that's kind of accurate, but anyway. They got into several debates during the auditions and took shots at each other on Twitter. That year in May, Nicki Minaj called Mariah Carey bitter and insecure in the following tweet: "What you should be doing with your messy is asking why a woman so successful at her age is still so insecure and bitter." Next up at number 9, we have Chelsea Handler and Angelina Jolie. Chelsea Handler is good buddies with Jennifer Aniston, so that might make her a bit biased when it comes to Angelina. Chelsea has mocked Angelina on so many occasions, and she said some pretty nasty things about her in interviews. Just to name a few times, during an appearance on Watch What Happens, Chelsea Handler said Angelina, quote, "seems like a demon." In another quote, when she appeared on the More magazine cover, Chelsea said that she just doesn't trust Angelina. And in an interview with Katie Couric in 2010, Handler called Angelina a homewrecker. Angelina Jolie actually never publicly responded, but according to Handler, Angelina confronted her and ended up calling her an effing B-word. At number 8, we have Will.I.AM and Perez Hilton. Who remembers the time when this black-eyed pea gave Perez Hilton a black eye? See what I did there? Sorry. Perez made headlines in 2009 when he famously tweeted, "I was assaulted by Will.I.AM of the Black Eyed Peas and his security guards. Please, I need to file a police report." He asked his fans to call the police for him via Twitter. Fans did end up calling the police, the Toronto police showed up, and Perez continued to share details of the encounter on social media. Will.I.AM responded to Perez Hilton's allegations in a video where he says Perez disrespected Fergie and called him a slur in front of a bunch of fans when he asked Perez not to be so rude to them. Will claimed that he walked away and a fan attacked Hilton on his behalf. Perez responded in a video of his own, alleging that Will.I.AM was a liar, adding that his manager punched him a couple of times. The Black Eyed Peas manager did end up in court later that year for assault, but something tells me that these two are going to avoid each other at all costs. At number 7, we have Justin Bieber and Patrick Carney. If you don't know who Patrick Carney is, he is the drummer for the band The Black Keys. And if you don't know who Justin Bieber is, congratulations! I'm sorry. I really don't. I have no opinion about Justin Bieber. Patrick Carney openly hates Justin Bieber though. The feud goes back to when a TMZ reporter asked Patrick if Justin Bieber should have felt snubbed for not scoring a Grammy. Patrick responds, "Grammys are for music, not for the money, and he's making a lot of money. He should be happy." The following day, Justin Bieber tweeted out that the Black Keys drummer should be slapped around. The Beliebers had a field day, with many of them sending Carney death threats. Later in an issue of Rolling Stone, Carney said, "Justin Bieber, like an effing irresponsible asshole, sicked 40 million Twitter followers on me because I paid him a compliment he didn't understand." Adding, "I'm saying that he should be grateful that he has an effing career in music, and he shouldn't be effing telling his followers to slap me, and then also be doing anti-bullying BS. It's so irresponsible." Carney later added in that interview that Justin Bieber is a quote, moron. At number 6 on our list, we have Perez Hilton and Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay and Perez don't have the best track record. They were feuding back in the early 2000s, but the feud was reignited back in 2013 after a nightclub blogger, Ray Lemoyne, punched Perez Hilton's little brother Baron, who posted pictures of his injuries to social media. According to sources who spoke to the Post, Lindsay Lohan had told Lemoyne to beat up Baron after Lindsay heard him talking crap about Lindsay to Lindsay's boyfriend behind her back. Baron had told police that Lindsay shouted while he was being punched, "You talk about me to my boyfriend, this is what you get." Lindsay later claimed that she saw nothing and denied involvement, but she was also avoiding speaking to police about the matter. Perez Hilton commented at the time on her brother's Instagram account, "They both will pay for what they did. No one F's with my family and gets away with it." At number 5, we have Julia Roberts and Nick Nolte. You might remember that these two starred in the 90s film I Love Trouble. Then again, you might not, because the on-screen chemistry between these two was just not there. It had bad reviews, and that's because things weren't going great between them when the cameras weren't rolling. According to a 1994 story in the LA Times, these two got on each other's nerves a lot. People involved in the production said that they didn't get along, tempers flared early on, and Julia reportedly had temper tantrums on set. Nick Nolte hated Julia Roberts so much, he would purposefully do things to piss her off. Apparently these two actors played more to stand-ins than each other. If you don't know what a stand-in is, it's when the director pulls in someone who looks like an actor from the back and they place them in the scene instead of the actor. It's a way to save money. A lot of actors charge by the hour, but it's also useful when co-stars can't stand the sight of each other and it affects the scene. People who reviewed the film said the hostility between these two actors showed up on screen, which isn't ideal for a romantic comedy. At number 4, we have Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. Unfortunately, these two rap queens just don't get along. Now, I personally feel like the beef between them might be a little bit overblown, like for press kind of thing. Everyone loves drama, and everyone loves drama between two queens in their own right, because they couldn't possibly feel like there was room enough for both of them to thrive in the music scene simultaneously, right? These two used to collaborate. They were on Migos' track Motorsport together, but from liking negative comments about each other to throwing shade in Instagram stories to writing lyrics that put each other down, Cardi B and Nicki Minaj definitely aren't besties. They even had a physical altercation at the September 2018 New York Fashion Week, where Cardi approached Nicki to confront her about quote lies she was spreading, before being elbowed by a security guard, and then she threw her shoe at Nicki. Apart from a few shade throws here and there, the feud has quieted down for now, but it's safe to say that we likely won't be getting another Nicki-Cardi collab for the foreseeable future. At number 3, we have Jake Paul and Zayn Malik. Who could forget the time when Jake Paul and Zayn Malik had a public Twitter fight and Gigi Hadid stepped in to stomp on Jake Paul in defense of her man? I remember that. Apparently the feud started while they were staying at the same hotel in Vegas. They had rooms close to each other. After a fight, not their fight, but like, you know, those fights that you watch. Jake was going back to his room where he saw Zayn and his friends getting off an elevator. Jake asked if they were partying, Jake wished Zayn a good night, and Zayn said, "I don't give an F if you have a good night." Jake was taken aback but went to his room, and then they later ran into each other again. Jake reportedly tried to squash the beef, but Zayn challenged Jake, and then they started tweeting at each other. Jake tweeted, "Almost had to clap up Zayn from One Direction because he is a little guy and has an attitude and basically told me to F off for no reason when I was being nice to him. Zayn, I know you're reading this, stop being angry because you came home alone to your big hotel room." That's when Gigi Hadid chimed in with, "LOL, cause he doesn't care to hang out with you and your embarrassing crew of YouTube groupies. Home alone with his best friends like a respectful king cause he has me, sweetie. Unbothered by your irrelevant, ugly Go to bed." Yo, she ended him. Queen Gigi has spoken! No one really knows why Zayn and Jake got into a fight in the first place, but I'm gonna go out on a limb to say they just really don't like each other. Well, at least now they don't like each other. Alright, coming in on number 2 on our list, we have Joan Crawford and Bette Davis. Taking things back a few decades, Joan Crawford and Bette Davis were two Hollywood heavyweights, icons of their time, who starred together in the classic film Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, which was nominated for 5 Academy Awards. But this feud is one of the most well-known feuds ever to take place in the world of celebrity. The bitter rivalry between them was even immortalized in the film Feud. They became rivals when Crawford moved to Warner Brothers Studios in 1943, which meant that they were picking from the same roles. Joan Crawford divorced Douglas Fairbanks Jr., her first husband, then remarried, a couple of years later. The press surrounding Crawford eclipsed the promotional campaigns for Davis. It seemed that this feud might have been rooted in jealousy. Bette was jealous of Crawford's affair with Clark Gable, and also Crawford dated Franchot Tone, who was Davis's leading man in the film Dangerous. Davis had fallen in love with Tone, but he ended up marrying Joan Crawford. Davis, who was younger than Crawford, ended up becoming a bigger star than her, but they would often about each other and spread rumors about each other. Then came Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, when the feud reached its peak. They would call the director to complain about each other every single night. Then Bette Davis was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actress, while Crawford was snubbed. The next year, when Bette Davis was the favorite to win, but she didn't, Crawford made it so that she would be the one collecting the Oscar on behalf of several of the other nominated actresses. She reportedly brushed past Bette Davis and said, "Excuse me, I have an Oscar to collect." I love that. I love that so much. It's Joan Crawford though, like I can't hate her. Alright, I would have made that number 1, but honestly not a lot of you even really know who those people are. I ended up going with somebody else. At number 1 on our list, we have Taylor Swift and Kanye West. Are we really surprised? The hatred between Taylor Swift and Kanye West goes back to when Kanye did quite possibly the rudest thing anyone has ever done. And he interrupted Taylor's acceptance speech for Album of the Year to say that Beyonce deserved it instead. I mean, you can definitely feel that way, and he might be right, but that doesn't mean he should take away her moment and, like, you know, you only have like a few seconds on that stage. Then of course the feud went on to when Kanye said he made Taylor Swift famous, or rather, that famous on his track Famous, lyrics he reportedly asked her permission for. When Taylor denied giving her permission, Kim Kardashian released a doctored video that appeared to show Taylor agreeing to the lyrics. That's when Kim and Kanye's fans mass trolled Taylor Swift, calling her a snake, flooding her pictures with snake emojis. She ended up taking a long break from social media, and it wasn't until recently that the real video of the conversation between Taylor and Kanye surfaced, and it turns out that Taylor was right all along. Alright guys, that was a doozy of a list. What'd you think? You like it? Let's wrap this one up with some comments. I don't need your compliments. Compliment me, I worked hard. Savannah Anderson said, Charlotte, don't leave us like that again! I haven't left. What do you mean? I appear on the channel at least once a day, so just saying. Emily Withrow said, you're awesome, but I have to draw the line at coffee dipped potatoes. Ugh, you're no fun. Fishy said, Charlotte, I love how you look into things and look at both sides of the story. I do my best to look at both sides of the story, but I'm a human being with a bias just like everybody else. Alright guys, that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this list, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe so we get to see you in a future video, and bye. They even had a physical altercation at the September 8th. Before being elbowed after a fight, Jake was going back to his room when he saw after one of the fights. After a fight? Like, Zayn challenged Jake tried to squash the beef. Zayn challenged